Hey guys, John the Ninja here. How you doing? I'm live from the dojo or the dojang, or depending on what martial art you actually practice. But you get the point. I'm in my studio right now, and I'm gonna tell you that I'm gonna start a brand new YouTube series where I talk about all the concerts I've been to. Mostly shows, some at the big venues, some at the small venues, but nonetheless, I've had a wide array of experiences. Some good, some bad, and some just plain damn epic. But before I started that video series, I thought it very important that I would start with where it all began. There is this beautiful building referred to as the Big Joint in Philadelphia. I call it the Wells Fargo Center. And back when I first went, it was the Wachovia Center. And the story I'm going to tell you is the first time I went to that historic building, because Philadelphia, I don't care what you say, is a very historic city for sports, fighting, politics, even the country's history is based in Philadelphia. So I'm going to start there. And to represent, I got my colors on. This is an authentic Allen Iverson jersey, baby. Back when he was there in the 2000s, I believe this was getting sold. So the story I'm going to tell you is the first time me and my dad went out to a big event. Now, to his dismay, that event was something he didn't thoroughly enjoy, but for a kid like me, I loved it. And that event was the 2004 WWE Royal Rumble. It took place January 25th, 2004. Now, for anybody that knows me, I'm a big wrestling fan. Growing up, I loved The Rock, I loved Stone Cold, I loved Eddie Guerrero, I loved all those people. And that was pretty much the prime time for wrestling, okay? They were moving out of a certain era they called this and that. You know, they have different eras, they say, in the WWE. And this was becoming the ruthless aggression era, where all those big WWF stars were starting to come down, and all the WWE stars, our generation, the early 2000s kids, they would know, the Randy Ortons, the Batistas, and of course, you still have some of the old WWF people there. So you got your Ric Flairs, you got your Dudley Boys. So it was really, really cool. So what I remember is I asked my dad if I could go to the Royal Rumble. I found out it was coming to Philadelphia, and I was super excited because prior to, you would see Raw and SmackDown every now and again. I just didn't know what times they were on because I was so young, and back then we didn't have on demand. You know, you actually needed TV Guide. You actually needed a magazine to come through in the mail. Look at it, and oh, those are the times this will come on. I didn't have that, so it was always guessing. When I got a little older, I started understanding how TV works and the times. So I begged my dad to take me. He agreed, got us the best seats I could have ever asked for. They were near the box. When you're at the Wachovia Center, I'm sorry, the Wells Fargo Center now, when you're there, it's circular. You can see where the boxes are, and we were in seats just in the box seats. It was great, but so much anticipation, so much excitement because I'm going to see all my favorite superstars, and just really am inspired by these guys. Before I actually had, anything other than TV, we had WWF, WWE. WWE Here Comes the Pain was that game. I was thinking No Mercy. That's the other game I had. But this game was pretty much all I was on all the time before that event. I was super excited to finally see the people I was playing as those characters. So, anyway, I remember when we got to the venue, we were parking, and the old stadium for the Eagles was still there. The vet was still standing, and I got to see it. Now, unbeknownst to me, it was literally about to be teared down. But it was really cool, and thinking back now, it's like, oh wow, we parked and we saw the vet where, I believe Xfinity Live is right now. That's where the vet was. So we parked, we went inside. I was just in awe of this beautiful structure that was the entranceway for the WWE Royal Rumble. And what I do remember is the hype, the bombs going off and the excitement, the energy in that building. You hear about it from other people, like the superstars, like, oh, there's nothing like that energy. All these people in unison cheering. That was the first time I felt that. And I was, so enthralled by it. So they had people like the Dudley Boys, who are big favorites in Philadelphia, if you know your wrestling history, and Ric Flair, who's just one of the all-time greats, and Batista come out wrestle first in a tables match. They had Rey Mysterio versus Jamie Noble. Rey Mysterio, huge name still. I think the match I have to take away the most from that night was Eddie Guerrero versus Chavo Guerrero. Eddie Guerrero was a huge influence on me. I mean, granted, I'm a Spanish kid, I lie, I cheat, I steal. Very stereotypical. But when you actually know who he was, Eddie Guerrero was a guy who pretty much, he was a great wrestler. He loved his job, fell into drugs, got clean, found God, and his story, he ended up being champion. that year at their WrestleMania, and just he was one of those guys I just always looked up to because I'm mixed. I'm a lot of things, but I'm mostly Spanish, and it was nice to see a Spanish role model, a guy who's really on top, just wrestle, and I enjoyed that thoroughly. Got to see Triple H and Shawn Michaels wrestle, two more greats, Brock Lesnar, of course, and then you had the 30-man Royal Rumble, where you got to see John Cena, you got to see Goldberg, and a lot of people are, hesitant to talk about it because Chris Benoit did win that Royal Rumble, and at the time, I was a fan. You can't talk about what he did. You don't even talk about him. You don't mention him nowadays because of the heinous crime he did. It's understood that, his mind wasn't all there because of all the concussions and all the CTE, and especially when you look at other NFL stars that are dealing with it and other people. But still, the crime was committed. So we're just going to skip past that. But the idea of, at the time, I'm seeing all these superstars, and, Chris Benoit came in first and then finished last, and he won the match. And, I got to see Stone Cold Steve Austin and John Cena, all these guys that were big heroes to me. Real life superheroes is the best way to put it. I got to see them all. The only 3 people I did not see at that Royal Rumble were The Rock, The Undertaker, and Tori Wilson. I had a crush on Tori Wilson back then. Yes, I did. I still have a crush on her now. She's still beautiful. So, anyway, it's one of those events that afterwards, I left feeling really good. I felt really, really, I don't know. Just the little kid in me was just over the moon. And I remember some of the things that really made me laugh that night were, especially one, my dad's a very affluent dude. He's a very smart guy. We're there, and there was a segment where Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out, and he stuns. He does the kick, and, bam, he stuns both general managers of Raw and SmackDown. And he's, drinking the beer. People are going crazy. My mother calls us on one of those flip phones to see how we're doing. He's like, Margaret, I feel the knowledge literally draining from me. They got some jackass in the ring, wasting beer. These guys are pulling punches. This is God. So, obviously my dad was pretty miserable. But, he was there for me. And that was one of those things. It was fun to share with him. He's not the biggest wrestling fan. He respects, the old greats. Like, when he saw Ric Flair, he's like, holy shit, you got Ric Flair here. But for me, that night was really cool. And just seeing Stone Cold come out afterwards and, cheer the crowd. And, Chris Benoit did his thing tonight. Even though people say it's fake. And I don't know if anybody knows, but I did enroll in a wrestling school at CZW in Voorhees for a little bit. I tell people it's all real. Okay? There's behind the scenes things I can never talk about, just out of respect to the craft. I always look at wrestling like a martial art. There are certain things you need to know. A lot of it's real. When you're getting hit, that's real. The determined ending may be, okay, we want this guy to win or we want that guy, but you're literally watching poetry in motion. You're watching guys put their lives on the line. That's the best way to put it. They're using their bodies to convey a performance. Just like gymnastics convey a performance. These guys are doing a little bit more physically, and they're trusting each other, even if they hate each other or not. But just looking back at, oh my God, I saw all these greats in one event. And, oh man, look at this. And when I go back, I see that. I'm like, oh, I would have never noticed this. This pay-per-view is very, very close to my heart. And when I think of it, it's always fond memories. Unbeknownst to me, it set me on a downward spiral of going to the Wachovia Center, to the Wells Fargo Center, to the Big Joint for a lot more shows. And most of them, just life moments I'll never forget. So that's why I had to start, even though it's not a concert, I had to start this video series talking about the 2004 Royal Rumble. Like I said, it was just a great night. Not as detailed or as crazy as it could have been because, I was a kid, 4th grade. Sheesh. But I guarantee some of the other stories are going to have a little bit more kick to them. And some won't. Some will just be very vanilla. But if anything, I can take away the 2004 Royal Rumble. It was a very good pay-per-view. And it was a really good time. So, till next time, I'll catch you guys. God bless. Stay smart. Stay cool. And rock on.